Hello, I'm Reggie York. I'm going to do a review of the quiz questions for Chapter 1 of the book, Becoming a Social Researcher. I'll answer each of these questions and then I'll discuss it. I think the discussion will be, of course, what you need because the answers to these questions are in the book, so you've had a chance to do the quiz and see what grade you got. If you're disappointed in your grade, I think this review should be very useful to you. So you should have already completed the quiz and graded yourself. So now let's start talking. I'm going to give you question number 1. If you have the quiz before you, you know what your answer is. If you want to read it again, then hit the pause button and we'll talk about it. The main theme here is, I would say, don't put the cart before the horse. That's option A, which is the correct one. The researcher here has decided on the research methodology before deciding on the research question. When you review the steps in the research process, you will start with determining the research question or purpose, followed by methods, which is followed by collecting and analyzing data, which is followed by drawing conclusions. This person's decided that I want to do interviews of the members of my club, but I don't know what I want to find out. I don't know my purpose. I don't know my question. That's putting the cart before the horse. Question 2. I'm going to give the question first, and then I'll go with the options. The correct answer here is C, determining the purpose of the study and general question to be answered. This is the first step in the process. Other steps would follow that because you first want to know what is your purpose. Here's question 3. We're looking at what purpose is consistent with the spirit of scientific inquiry. For both A and B here, you can ask yourself if either of these statements adheres to this suggestion. If your purpose is to demonstrate that dialectical behavioral therapy is effective, it seems to me that you've already decided on your conclusion, but you haven't collected data yet. Also, if you say to challenge the criticisms that human services are not worth the cost, again, it seems you're trying to prove a point. Both A and B are trying to prove a point, and I would say that neither of those are appropriate. So the correct answer there is D, none of the above. Here's question 4. What phrase is demonstrated by the above quiz question? We're looking at quiz question 4. The answer here is C, scientific research is a process of discovery, not justification. That was one of the several phrases we talked about in the book. You don't do research to prove a point. That's inconsistent with the spirit of scientific inquiry. Here is question number 5. And here are the answers that you have reviewed already. The issue here is completeness and logic in the examination of data. As a result, the correct answer is D. You do not yet have enough information to answer the question in an unbiased way. If there is the same amount of strange behavior when the moon is not full than when it is full, you do not have evidence to draw conclusions that there is an effect of the full moon. You don't want to be incomplete in the information and data that you collect. Here's question number 6. We'll review that one. Here we have a situation where the data failed to be statistically significant. The issue related to statistical significance is B, some things happen just by chance. So that is the correct answer. Chance, as reflected in the analysis of data statistically, is one of the critical questions that is dealt with by scientific research. If you cannot rule out chance, then you can't take your data seriously. Here's question 7. The answer here is C. Of those who attended this party, salaries for men were found to be higher than for women. There's no logical or scientific basis for drawing the conclusion that what you found with 24 people at your party would be relevant to or generalizable to a larger, much larger population like everybody who lives in your state or nation. It seemed to me the only thing that makes sense is to conclude that the salaries for men were found to be higher than women for those who attended this party. You're simply talking about what you found, and you did not attempt to generalize that. When we talk about generalization, by the way, it's all about the way you selected the people to be in your study. We'll talk about this a little later, but I'm just going to give you a quick heads up. If you have a random sample from your target population, you can scientifically generalize your findings. If you do not have a random sample, you have to generalize them on a logical basis by simply using logic to argue your point that you do or do not believe these data would be likely to be found if you studied a different group from that same population, and that's what generalization is all about. Here is question number 8. The correct answer is B, 2 heads are better than 1. We recognize there's a certain chance of error whenever we ask a single person to give us facts about what just happened in an auto accident. To reduce human error in human observation, we seek more than one source of information. In this case, the police officer asks all 3 people who witnessed the accident. In this case, we may say that 3 heads are better than 1. Let's look at question number 9. The answer is yes, there are steps before you draw conclusions. In fact, drawing conclusions is the last thing you do in a scientific study. So the answer is C. You do both A and B before you draw conclusions. Conclusions comes last. Question number 10. Here is the basic question, which you have seen. I'll go to the answers here because we're looking at what phrase best represents that best illustrates what this situation is all about. When your research question has been well studied by others with very similar results, you might be well advised to choose a different topic for your study. So the answer is A, don't reinvent the wheel. Why waste time doing a study of a theme where the answer has clearly been done, has been made by previous research? You're not very often going to find this to be the case because much research, when it's done by many different people, is rather equivocal in the conclusions that are drawn. Okay, we've done all 10 questions. I hope this helps.